For the first time in history, what you think about doesn't just stay in your head, it follows you. Every second you watch something and every comment or like you leave feeds a system designed to predict what holds your attention with the goal of controlling who you become. Back in 2006, when the book The Secret and its Law of Attraction was all the rage, people made fun of it, right? They called it wishful thinking and a pseudoscience. But now it's kind of real. The algorithm makes it real. Whatever you give your attention to, it multiplies the effect on you. You might think you've got control over your attention, but you don't, and it's costing you a lot. If you ever want to be successful, you need to take your attention back. And here's how. Welcome to Alux, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. First of all, you have to really understand the cost of wasting your attention. Because your attention isn't just being used, it's being harvested. And the cost is not just wasted time. It's the erosion of your ability to think independently, to make choices for yourself, and to recognize when you're being manipulated. Every time you scroll, you're not just consuming, you're programming yourself. You're reinforcing patterns, solidifying habits, and shaping the way you see the world. What you focus on expands, not because of some mystical force, but because the systems around you are designed to keep you looking in one direction. Your perception narrows, your thoughts loop, and soon your worldview isn't something you created. It's something that was created for you. And this passive participation has the greatest negative impact. Studies on neuroplasticity show that repeated exposure to high stimulation content, like fast-cut videos and endless social media loops, weakens your brain's capacity for keeping attention. It rewires your reward system to crave novelty over depth. It makes the thought of sitting down to read, reflect, or solve problems feel like a chore. Your thoughts become dictated by whatever trend, headline, or viral clip dominates their feed that day. And over time, that shapes your reality. You lose your own opinions. A distracted mind is unproductive and vulnerable. You lose your independence. You lose time, you lose potential, and you lose the version of yourself that you could have become, but didn't, because you were too distracted to build it. You waste the skills you could have built, the ideas you could have explored, and the opportunities you could have grabbed. So it's a pretty big loss. One you can't afford to just throw away. The battle for your attention is on, and to win it, you need to know who you're fighting against. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of today's video, this one's sponsored by us, more specifically the Alux app, the kind of platform where paying attention is, well, it's more like an investment. And look, okay, I know we're biased here because we created it, but the folks consistently using the app are systematically improving their lives across all the main areas: financial health, emotional and physical wellness, relationships, and intellectual strength. There's daily coaching sessions and collections of lessons taught by industry experts. It's like having your own board of advisors in your pocket. And if you download the app and scan this QR code on screen, you'll score 25% off the annual membership. But with all that said, let's get into it today by first taking a look at who really owns your attention right now. Because there are two forces influencing your focus: those who master engagement and those who own the ecosystem. A lot of people would say that huge creators like Mr. Beast are attention owners. He has millions of eyes on him every day because he doesn't just make videos, he engineers them for maximum engagement. The fast cuts, the crazy challenges, the confusing thumbnails, they'll hijack your attention and then hold on to it. He understands exactly how to keep viewers watching, and he's turned that skill into a billion-dollar empire. But while creators like Mr. Beast optimize for engagement, they still play within a system they don't control. The real power belongs to those who own the platforms themselves. Companies like Meta, Google, and ByteDance. These aren't just businesses, they're ecosystems designed to dictate where attention flows. So when you combine engagement-obsessed creators and profit-driven platforms, you get a system that doesn't just capture attention, it engineers dependency. Are you even aware of how much you rely on this system? You use it to relieve your stress, to relax, to look for advice, to distract yourself from challenges in your life, and to take away your boredom. Essentially, you're allowing systems and people you don't know to make you feel better about your day, your life, about yourself. And it's never going to work because that's not their ultimate goal. And we'll talk about this ultimate goal later on because knowing the why behind this will give you the motivation to push through the fight. And, oh yeah, it is a fight. One with only 2 modes to choose from. Either you participate passively, which is what the majority of the world is doing right now, or you twist their game against them. You hack it. You use their systems to become the person you want to be and live the future you dreamed of. But in this fight, there's something really important you need to know. It's gonna frame how you walk into this battle. The algorithm has become the real law of attraction. Now, the law of attraction's always been described as a mindset, right? They said that what you focus your attention on will expand. But, now it's not just a belief system. It's a measurable, algorithm-driven reality. Every interaction you have online strengthens the feedback loop. You watch one video, you click one link, you engage with one post, and the algorithm takes note. It doesn't just reflect your interests, it amplifies them. And the more it feeds you the same content, the more your brain internalizes those patterns. But you can use this to your advantage. By deliberately curating what you consume, you train your mind to prioritize the ideas, habits, and skills that lead to the life you want. If you consistently engage with content on financial literacy, business strategy, or personal growth, well, you'll be fed more of it. Over time, your worldview shifts. You can start thinking differently. You start to act differently. Your digital habits become your real-world behaviors. You want to become more disciplined? Well, engage with content that reinforces discipline. You want to become wealthier? Flood your mind with financial content from good creators. The algorithm will do the rest. It'll keep feeding you the environment you tell it that you want. And your brain, always adapting to its inputs, will start to operate within that reality. This is the law of attraction with data to back it up. Instead of hoping for change, you can engineer it. Your feed is a reflection of your future, so you have to choose and create it wisely. Now, later we're going to dive into the rules of this game and how you can use them to your advantage, and we'll give you some practical steps on how to do this. But first, this is going to be a hard habit to break, and one thing you're going to need a lot of is motivation. You need that spark. You need a little bit of anger. And that comes from understanding why your attention is a prize to them in the first place. Because attention equals influence, and influence equals power. What do you think is the #1 goal of anyone who wants to buy your attention? More money, more respect, or more power? Think about it, they already have more money than they could ever spend. They've reached a level of success where they feel like they have more control through fear than they would ever get with respect. And they know that power isn't something that you achieve once and hold on to forever. It's a constant game of maintaining control, eliminating threats, and expanding influence. Anyone who rises to power has one overriding priority: to stay at the top. In the current world climate, attention is the foundation of power. Power has always been the ultimate goal, but attention hasn't always been the mechanism to get it. During the agricultural economy, land was power. Kings, aristocrats, and feudal lords owned all the land and decided who could use it and how. Peasants and serfs were allowed to live on and farm the land, but they had to give a portion of everything they produced to the landowner. So owning land meant freedom. Not owning land meant permanent labor. The working class had no independence. They had to obey landowners just to survive, so they couldn't even think about escaping that system. In the industrial economy, production was power. Factories, railroads, and steel industries became the new source of wealth. Factory owners forced people off of farms, so they had no choice but to work for wages. Once workers depended on wages, they had to keep working just to survive. So people were no longer self-sufficient. They needed jobs, and factory owners controlled the only jobs available. Now, we're in the attention economy, where attention is power. Soon we'll move into the AI and data economy, but that's a video for another day. One fight at a time here, okay? So each of these things, land, production, and now attention, shapes the behavior of the masses of the time, and that's what the elites want. If they can shape your behavior, then they can make sure that you never are a threat to their thrones. They need you to keep consuming, because if you're constantly consuming, you are never creating. If you're always reacting, you're never leading. These distractions prevent you from building your own power. The people who build wealth and influence aren't the ones glued to their screens. No, they're the ones playing the game while everybody else watches. They have 3 key goals: keep you distracted, exhausted, and scattered. If you're distracted, you don't notice the opportunities they're seizing. If you're exhausted from overstimulation, you don't have the energy to compete with them. If your mind is scattered, you can't plan, strategize, or execute. You are a threat to them, and they're taking you out, okay? Neutralizing that threat through algorithms and entertainment. But you can turn everything they're trying to do to you on its head. It's been done before, and we've got way more resources to do it now. You can use their algorithms to beat them at their own game. Now you are a participating player instead of a pawn in their game. And as a participating player, the first thing you need to know are the rules of the game. Because now that you know what it's costing you, who you're fighting against, and why they're fighting so hard, you can learn the rules of the game and use them to your advantage. Okay, so rule number 1 is the strongest emotion wins. And that's fear, okay? That's the default target, to play to your fears, even when you think that you're consuming good content. You see, fear isn't just an emotion, it's a state of mind that traps you in reaction mode. Our brain's reaction mode is only meant to be activated for a few minutes at a time, really. It's how we're able to fight off predators, because reactive mode makes us so attuned to everything around us. But now, the threat seems constant, right? Even if it's not immediate or even real. When you see bad news, your survival instincts force you to keep on watching. When you feel like you're under attack, you fight back, even if it's through your phone. When you're overloaded with conflicting advice, you freeze, because you're wired to avoid mistakes. You need to leverage fear to drive action. So every time you feel fear, channel it into preparation instead of paralysis. Ask yourself, what am I actually afraid of here? Break it down further and then ask, what skills, knowledge, or preparation would make this fear irrelevant? So if you're afraid of financial instability, say, what skills, knowledge, or preparation would make it go away? How can you use their system to get what you want? Rule number 2 is that frequency beats quality. You're bombarded with shallow, repetitive content that keeps you engaged but never improves your life. You need to reprogram your brain with high-value repetition. Flood your mind with information to expand your skills, knowledge, and earning power. The Alux app is a great way to do that. Rule number 3 is the first to frame the narrative wins. So they push their version of reality first, right? So by the time you hear the truth, your perception is already shaped. You need to define your own identity, your goals, and your vision for success so that no external force can dictate your path. And rule number 4 is that scarcity creates obsession. They make meaningless distractions seem rare and urgent, while making real-life success seem distant and unrealistic. So you have to make your time, skills, and attention scarce and valuable. Invest only in things that generate wealth, sharpen your mind, or strengthen your body. Ignore distractions that drain your energy without return. Now, you probably have more rules that you've noticed, okay? So please share them with the community. Now that you know the rules, you can use the algorithm of the law of attraction to manipulate yourself and become the person that you've always wanted to be. But what are the first steps here? Well, let's look at the 3-step attention reset, how to take back control. So if you pick up your phone the moment you wake up, you've already lost, okay? Just don't do it, because you're gonna be chasing that dopamine high for the rest of the day. You need to take back your control. Not tomorrow, not next week, it has to happen right now. So step 1, cut the noise. Take out your phone and open up your most used social media app. Scroll it for 60 seconds. Look at what's dominating your feed. Does it challenge you? Does it push you forward? Or is it just keeping you occupied? Now start cutting, okay? Unfollow accounts that add nothing to your life. Mute distractions. Remove anything designed to trigger outrage, mindless entertainment, or surface-level consumption. If it's not helping you become sharper, stronger, or smarter, it is working against you. Step 2 is to rewire the algorithm. Most people at the internet dictate what they see. The smartest people train it to work for them. For the next 7 days, take control of your inputs. Follow people who challenge your thinking. Engage with content that deepens your perspective. Find information that builds skills, not just opinions. The algorithm will take the hint. The more intentional you are, the faster your entire digital world will shift. And step 3, train your brain like you train the algorithm. Your mind works just like your feed. Whatever you give it, it craves more. If you constantly expose yourself to quick dopamine hits, your focus will weaken. If you engage in low-quality content, your thinking will get shallower. But if you start to feed your mind depth, complexity, and new challenges, you rewire it to crave growth. You won't just become more focused, you'll become harder to manipulate. Just start your day with 10 to 15 minutes of high-value content. Check out the Alux app, read some from a book, listen to a podcast, or reflect before you give any of your attention away. It's not going to be easy, okay? The system is built to pull you back in, to keep you consuming, reacting, and scrolling without questioning why. You will feel the urge to check, to engage, to go back to the comfort of distraction. That is not an accident, okay? That is addiction. There's a lot at stake here, okay? Your focus, your time, your ability to think for yourself. So can you afford to allow this to continue unchecked? Now, at the start of this, we asked you if you were choosing what you see or if something else was choosing for you. Now, well, you know the answer. Your attention has never truly been in your hands alone. It's been pulled, directed, and monetized by forces you didn't even notice. But that changes the moment you decide to change it. Because in the world we live in today, the difference between a life that happens to you and a life that you create starts with a single decision: where you place your attention. We'll see you back here next time, Alexer. Until then, take care, my friend.